Last year we had, God, it must have been 5 or 6 greens done, especially one on Christmas Eve, which was really bad damage. And then this year we had some damage just before Christmas on the 3rd green, which was a bit of a nightmare, but we thought maybe we've got away with it. And then last week we had 6 greens done in 2 nights. Some were just superficial damage, but then a couple of them were a lot worse than that. Sometimes it looks a lot worse than it is, and the superficial damage will come back quite quickly, but being February, March, you're not going to get germination for another few weeks yet. And that can be, to the golfer it looks bad. To us, we know we can get it back quite quickly, but you've got to have that germination because you can't patch up the amount of damage we've had. The members up here and the golfers, because we're pay and play, so we get an awful lot of pay and play golfers, and they've always been really, really supportive. But, you know, they want to come in and be vigilantes, but we can't allow that. Because it's happened in past years, we do get it back to a good standard eventually. You almost get that siege mentality as well. So you get a lot of golfers who support you even more because you've had these problems. But it doesn't always feel like that to you at the time. We can't really scarify them at the moment, which we'd like to. As soon as it warms up, we will. But for the moment, we've cleaned off all the debris, which you do get a lot of debris. Then we've gone round with seed and top dressing and filled in the scars, if you like. Some of the deeper ones, we've got a tool that we can take off the turf. Only a small, narrow tool that we can take the turf off and returf, but you can't do it with all of them. But a lot of the time, seed and top dressing is the best way forward. It's heartbreaking. It really is. It's heartbreaking because it's your sweat and tears that you've worked at all year long can be gone in the space of a couple of minutes overnight. Somebody's fun, if you like, has ruined what you've done and what your lads have done and your staff. So it's really heartbreaking. Sometimes you get a little bit, when it goes on and on and on, you start to get a little bit numb to it as well. So you're coming in, you're like, oh God, more damage again. Off we go, back to the routine of repairing it. And you do get a bit numb to it, but it still hurts. It's still hard. Yeah. And you do then come into work every morning and your first check of the morning is, has there been any more damage? You want to come into work and know that you can start and do the jobs you want to do. But in situations like this, you come into work and you're like, what are we coming into this morning? I can imagine if it was a one-off, you'd be like, oh, you know, really angry and upset, but then it never happens again. So you sort of, you're really peed off about it, but you get on with it. When you have it as much as we do, and I know there's other people out there who get this, you know, you're not on your own. It is hard because you're coming every morning. Once it happens that once, you've gone months without it. Once it happens that once, you're in your head. You're like, what am I coming into this morning? Anxiety is a nightmare. It really is. I mean, I'm people who know me, I'm one of the most laid back people you can meet. But even then, when this is happening, you're getting up in the morning and you're like, oh God, you know, I'm going into work. What am I going to find? It's hard on the staff because they've got so much pride in the job. And when this happens, every morning, the first thing is, what are we going to come into? And yeah, like I say, it's a bonus when it doesn't. It might be 5-6 days over a year that it happens, but when they do 5-6 greens in one night, it feels like it's more than those 5 or 6 days. It feels like it's every day. It's hard because they've got so much pride in the job and so much pride in what they do. But I don't know, it's almost like a siege mentality again. We pick each other up by the collars and say, come on, we've got to get this done. We've got no alternative. Working at the stadium on match days and helping out occasionally, it's almost like sometimes it's a blessed relief because you've got a complete break from what you're doing. And that is a major bonus to me anyway, to my mental health, because I can have a day away from here and forget about this well, you don't forget about it. You can put it to the back of your mind for a little bit and enjoy that side of it. I don't get, the annoying thing is the lads that do this well, I say lads, they're usually, from the descriptions we get, they're usually late teens, etc. So they're not like little kids either. And they might well be golfers themselves one day, which is the real, really gets you. With getting schools in, it's the sort of thing we'd like to do eventually, because then we might be able to um, change people's mindsets, if you like. I mean, we've got an absolutely brilliant rapport with the local community groups because we're quite high on social media. So the rapport we've got with the community groups is absolutely brilliant. So it's trying to bring that into the club, if you like. What we tend to do, if we've had damage, we'll report it on social media, but we won't put pictures up until later on, because what you don't want to do is glorify it for the people that have done it. So you get an awful lot of people that are shocked, but then if the people who have done it have been told about it and seen it on social media, they almost get a kick out of it. So you have to be careful how you manage that side of it as well. You're always thinking to yourself, did I do it right last time by letting so many people know, or should I just keep it quiet? Because I know there's a lot of people out there who'll get damage like this and they won't report it, and their clubs will encourage them not to tell anyone. But actually, the more it's out there, the more understanding you can get. Because there will be people out there who won't, who will think they're on their own. When they're getting damage like this, they'll think they're the only one, and they're not. They're not.